Welcome back, guys. We're here at Lal Park for more League of Legends action. It's me, Valdez, with Papa Smithy. Here the whole week. This time, good old Atlas is in China, of course. But we are here for the second match of the day. First one was a stomping, at least in game number 2, at least. And now we're getting into another one that definitely could go that same direction. Hanwha Life, unfortunately, down with those teams that are now fighting for relegation, whereas Kingzone, one of the better teams here this season.
And it wouldn't have been a surprise for the stomping to be a subtitle for one of our series, but for this to potentially be the sequel, bigger and better. I couldn't have expected that. The first series, Sandbox Gaming, our first place team, easily dispatched by Gen G.
Yeah.
And now you come in thinking that Kingzone, who have been kind of refreshed after Rift Rivals, where they re-arrived. A couple of weeks before Rift Rivals, a little bit poor. Rift Rivals, fantastic, the bastion of hope. Actually, kind of maybe spoil something here. If there was to be a Game 5, my understanding was Kingzone Dragon X would have been sent out against the LPL, so they were really in great form. They've parlayed that forward, they keep winning. Now suddenly, if they win here, they start to assault the top, and they want to move towards 8 match wins and to join Sandbox at the top of the table.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so close. When we took a look at those standings before, it's like, well, speak of the devil, here we go. Sandbox still up on top, but then there's 3 teams that are all 7-3. Gen G fighting up here at 7-4. And then FLICKR and SKT are not out of it. They're only 1 and 2 games behind relatively. And then you look down at the bottom, and unfortunately it just feels like, KT and Jin Air might be going to relegations again. I believe the 2 teams that Hanwha Life defeated were Jin Air and KT, if I'm remembering correctly, at the beginning of the summer split. So they're kind of doing the same thing where they defeat the teams below them and lose to the ones above them, but they've started losing to more teams.
And now I feel like we don't have the answer to the question, who's the best? But we do have the answer to who's good and who's not so good. I feel like top 7 and bottom 3, I can't see this changing. I feel like those battle lines are drawn. I think KT, Hanwha Life, Jin Air, they're in the relegation battle. But top 7 feels oh so close. We had last year, summer, 4 teams ending at 13-5, and only game score was able to get them over the line. We could have that again. It could be even more crazy, Valdez, and that just means that when we hit the wildcard match onwards, could we just have multiple full best of 3s and best of 5s come playoffs? Now, it's not playoff time just yet, but it's always about playoff implications. Kingzone back in form with consecutive victories. Should be mentioned, came back and looked pretty shaky. First game straight after Rift Rivals, but were more on form last time out.
A potential Jinx war here. Actually, in the preview video we had before starting this one, Sangyoon did have the Jinx face in front of him there. Both of these guys do like to play the Jinx. Maybe we will see that if the Tom Kench does make it through. But you can see there in the middle, 6th place now even seems difficult for Hanwha Life. So it's now a try at not going to relegation, which is never a place you want to be in. Whereas Kingzone looking to pick up the 2-0 because, as we mentioned at the top, every single game, not just series win, but game win, is going to matter.
And you look at their gold difference at 15, 11-1 is their ratio when they have that gold lead at 15. They are closing out games well. And Hanwha Life, you notice the sample size here, they have played 10 best of 3s, only had a gold lead at 7 of those games, and in those 7, pretty decent, 71%. It shouldn't be a surprise that when you're winning at 15 in turret plate meta and a snowball meta, you can close the games from there. Now, with Corki and Azir, sometimes weird shenanigans can happen lately, but hopefully we'll see at least one of those banned each time to remove us from the resident sleeper mid lane battle. Kingzone, one thing you can always say is they're very rarely resident sleeper. They try a lot of crazy stuff. They import picks that work in other regions before other people, and they tilt Canyon straight off. What was some sort of chasm here? Why would they show this full replay? It was so tilting for the poor man.
Down at the bottom left it says Kingzone X, Dragon X, X.
Oh,
yeah.
Triple X?
Yeah, there you go.
Good movie. I haven't seen it. I can't actually vouch for that. Kingzone, they love packing some unsealed spellbooks. onto people.
Yeah.
It's a non sequitur, Valdez. Keep up.
Okay.
They love closing games as well. TusiN in wonderful form recently, and we've been waiting for it all summer. When would the summer of Deft begin? Finally got his first MVP votes in that most recent series.
He finally did. Naehyun loves his Azir. He's definitely been a nice addition to the Kingzone lineup, an unexpected one. And now we're going to see some Hanwha Life highlights in their 0-2 win up against Genji.
Remember
Lost,
this play? This was an amazing play. One
They
of many.
killed Fly.
Never look at the minimap during these plays, by the way. It should just be censored. Minimaps aren't allowed.
Remember that time where Azir killed Veigar next to the turret?
And then key camped to Bush at one point, and look at how dead Vladimir ostensibly was.
They nearly CC'd him to death?
Well,
And
from
that's
that,
it.
I can see this is going to be a very close series between Hanwha Life and Kingzone. Eyes on Naehyun, who we're still not 100% convinced on. He's had a very good summer, especially with what we would have expected. We thought, oh no, Naehyun might hold back Kingzone, who were third place in spring, with Pawn stepping away. Naehyun's had a lot of good games. He's been consistent, but you always wonder if there's going to be another shoe that drops, if maybe his champion pool will get found out or he'll have some notable blunders.
You mean Azir?
That's a fair point. His Koki was pretty good too.
Yeah.
But after that, I think there are pretty viable questions to ask. Some decent Yasuo and Jace games, but we're not 100% sold him. And he was solo killed a couple of times last week. So work to be done from Naehyun to deny the haters.
And meanwhile, Hanwha Life in 8th place. Lava has first, second in 3 different stats that are actually relevant ones. You know, they're not like, you know, a guy whose forward percentage is like 51% or something like that, right? He's actually doing really good in terms of stats. Now, again, that's not getting Hanwha Life too many victories against strong teams, but that is going to make it the highlight matchup, at least for this time around. I feel like the real highlight matchup is probably Deft versus sangyoon in the bottom lane. Obviously, Deft is one of the big-time carries for Kingzone, whereas sangyoon has a ton of charisma and is actually quite good down there in the AD carry role.
I don't really know I can isolate one, so I think going for kind of the elder statesman of AD carry is a pretty fun one. Otherwise, talent-wise, or at least recent performance-wise, it is very one-sided. The side of Kingzone will introduce Hanwha Life to the stage, and you know, the 6th place memes are something that right now they'd love to recreate. Obviously, it sucks to be the best runner-up for playoffs, but being a relegation battle's way worse, Valdez. That's a playoff that Hanwha Life doesn't want to get into. So because of that, they're trying to find some form. Tal has played most of the recent games. They will be going with SoHwan again today. Haven't really found any differences between the two, but Tal has had quite a few blunders recently. I can remember multiple misplays, especially around Vladimir timings and things like that. He's tried some frisky stuff, some like Ghost Flash, Unsealed Spellbook Vlad. It hasn't worked, so I don't hate bringing back SoHwan, who was the captain of Jin Air in a previous life.
Yeah, we're just going to take another look at the lineups here, but you were mentioning some quirky stuff, some weird stuff. Qiyana and Mord are actually unbanned now for this week. I mean, if this is not the matchup, I don't know what other matchup exists between Kingzone and Hanwha Life. These guys have to play one of those two.
Give it to me. Who's that Qiyana player?
On which team?
On not Hanwha Life, Kingzone.
Kingzone? Naehyun?
Who's that Mord player? I think Rascal's my answer for both. Because Rascal plays the weird stuff, man. In my head, if it functions like
Cuzz jungle Mordekaiser for sure.
Control mage player, I think Naehyun is almost purely. And then Rascal plays the assassins and Rascal plays the crazy stuff. He's played a lot of weird stuff. He's a Kled player. And 9-14, baby. That Grievous Wounds on Kled makes it even more scary against the side of Kingzone Dragon X. I think it might be Rascal jumping on all those picks. So I want to see them locked in. Coach Arai poking, having some fun with Naehyun. Acorn's getting over there too. I hope they're talking about Mordekaiser and Qiyana exclusively.
They're like, you know what to do. Just pick it. Don't think about it. We can give it to TusiN if need be. We all know he can play some fun supports, but now it's time to get down to it and see if they're actually going to play it and not just ban it.
Arai with the pinstripe tie.
Who would have thought they'd be banning out a champion that has a win rate of 23%?
Well, you see, Bono, as some people call him.
Who's that?
He's the frontman for U2.
Oh, yes, Bono. Forgot
Yes.
about him. Yeah.
Famously well known for his song A Beautiful Day. I believe it went, "It is a beautiful day." But Bono...
That's
Look
the
at
next
our
part, I
synergy.
think. Yeah.
We should sing a song during one of these games. It might be more appropriate.
We've already
We're talking
done it
about League
before.
of Legends.
We sang happy birthday to good old G-Sun.
That's true. But this song could be more copyrighted than that one.
True.
We're always looking for copyright strikes
have
here
the
on the
Twitch.
LCK channel. But Olaf, Jace, and the Lux support going to be banned away. Not often TusiN invests in bot lane bans. Remember, we actually saw triple TusiN bans a couple of times recently. They've already got 2 on the red side.
Guy deserves it. I feel like he's slowly coming back into form. And Karma, I mean, you can kind of say that it could be Flex down there. Probably not. But
Hey!
you leave up Karthus for Cuzz.
Instantly locked.
Don't know about that one.
But Bono's one of those players, especially in spring form, where he could wreck Karthus on an aggressive early pick. He's possible. His potential to do that is above some of our other kind of more passive junglers. I'm not saying he will. I'm saying that Bono is one of the few where I'm like, I could see what it would look like. But what is he going to do it on? Lava, a very notable Taliyah player, but there's plenty of Taliyah jungle in our LCK junglers match history recently.
And Taliyah could absolutely have a fun time if she can find that Karthus in the jungle. So let's leave that at a flex pick for now, as Taliyah will be locked in suspiciously early here for the side of Hanwha Life.
I just noticed that Taliyah has freckles. I didn't know that.
You don't play her much, do you?
No. I've actually never played a game of Taliyah. She's one of the only champions I've
Really?
never played.
Wow.
I would have played maybe like 1,000 games of Alistar, no games of Taliyah.
You should play her one time. She's a lot of fun.
I would say my average play time for each chat, because I've played a lot of League of Legends, probably like 80 games, and then obviously some massively higher. I've never played a game of Taliyah. But,
I can't believe it.
you know what?
Is there another champ?
I've watched thousands of games of Taliyah, so I got that going for me. Ashe locked in very early. Sangyoon, one of our resident Ashe players, one of these old school players. The Kiana hover. Is it the time?
Just do
Hold me,
it.
Valdez.
Come
Is it the time,
on.
please? Please? Let's do it. Naehyun, you've been practicing it. Rascal, you're probably playing it. Give it to us. This is enabled, guys, this week. Mordekaiser and Kiana available. Are they just playing with our hearts? It's dangerous to do this, King Zone. We come back with a vengeance if you're playing with our hearts.
It's game 1.
Boo!
Oh, get out of here.
All right. No, we're done. They haven't come into our headsets to tell us they're not working yet. As, will we get a pick here? Hanwha Life also seem to be tilted. They're not playing against Kiana.
Yeah.
They'll finally lock in Kennen. The ever-inspiring Kennen pick. Nico was available. Why didn't they lock in Nico? You might wonder, given that Nico has evolved to do a lot of Kennen's job better. Some players more comfortable on the Kennen better in some niche circumstances. But in this particular case, Kennen locked in. And we get to the second round. Don't you dare ban away Kiana or Mordekaiser. Let us live in a world where those champions are enabled.
I mean, at least we got it covered, or hovered, rather.
Yeah,
One team is at least teasing us, which is always a lot of fun.
hey, you might be having fun. I'm angry.
Yeah. You
Pop
don't
was
like to
mad.
be teased.
I got high expectations, so
That's
I'm very
true.
mad right now.
Very high standards
Good
on
news.
this broadcast.
One of Corky and Azir banned, so we've been spared something. In the mid lane, Naehyun didn't have Azir banned against him, we should mention. There was no first round Azir ban. So bot lane, Varus Braum coming back with a vengeance, beats most Tom Kench lanes. We have Ashe something. Could be Kennen or Taliyah, but probably going to be a second round support. I actually like Hanwha Life holding support to last pick more than most teams because Nami and other crazy picks, Key plays a great Bard, and that would be very exciting. Hanwha Life would definitely make me a bias cast to their side if we did get the Bard in this game.
Bard's buffed on 914, right?
Mickey already posted for G2
Yeah.
his excitement about that. Love myself a good Bard. And we're going to get the Elise ban. against Bonos, trying to find at least one jungle pick to relieve pressure.
And this is where they slam down that Mordekaiser pick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right here.
A range support will be pretty fun here, too.
Okay.
Any range support.
I mean, I was saying how we don't see much Thresh nowadays, and we are going to get it today.
And it's Key, who is a famous Thresh player. So we'll take this, not the Bard we were hoping for, but something that could be tricky in the laning phase to deal against the Varus Braum. You can't all in him. Look at that win rate. I believe there's been one game, no victories, as we're going to get another hover.
Deft's a troll. I don't believe him.
I'm going to believe him. We're going to get Qiyana here. Come on. Do it for me, Kingzone. Lock it in. Boo.
God, this is... Even the crowd
the
is
crowd
like,
is
get out of here. It's like a slow
And the worst thing is the crowd was super hyped to see Kingzone. This is like the headline performer at a comedy show. But they just put out a couple of jokes and no one's laughing, Valdez.
Yeah.
We're actually quite angry. We're
going to boo them off the stage sometime soon here.
Oh, they've got a
yes!
Yes! All right! Okay.
Someone wants to give us some fun.
All right. We're going to be the Hanwha Life in-house casters today.
Yeah.
We're on the red side today. Let's go, Hanwha Life. The fans, I can see some Kingzone fans are pretty hyped to see Qiyana as well. They're not going to admit it if you ask them later. That's what we like to see. So, look at the mid lane here. Lava versus Naehyun. We looked over the strats. Melee Assassin against the Azir. This one could have some potential, but Azir can also try to be non-interactive in the matchup. Hope you got everything ready to go when it comes to your Qiyana skill names. Might want to, adjust that. Not the Mordekaiser ones. No, that's fine.
Sorry,
ones,
the internet's a little bit slow here. How do you spell her name?
I believe it's
like Keanu,
it's
but
like
with the E instead of the U.
K-E-Y.
Yes.
It's like the Spanish que.
What?
I don't know.
That starts with a Q too.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get over the end here.
Even the AR is surprised.
That's fair. Like, do they have it ready? Come on, Riot. Like, yeah, it's on the wall like it always is. What are you talking about?
New content.
Look at this wall content we have going on here. They actually painted that during Champion Select on the walls. It's amazing how fast our painters are at LoL Park. Beautiful painting of all of the champions. And here they are on the other side. Yeah, you can see it's a curtain bending in the wind here of the air conditioning at LoL Park. I love the Qiyana painting. It's beautiful. Breathtaking here
that's
in LoL Park.
That's some high-level art. Oh, we're getting the new technology here. Well done. All right, guys. Well, we have Qiyana. It's game number 1. Let's see how it goes.
Well, we had the paintings on the wall. Now we're ready for some League of Legends painting. We want to paint a beautiful picture in our first game of Qiyana. We've been teased for a long time.
Yeah.
It was in the client last week, but it was one of those don't pick it rather than it was grayed out situations. So there were a couple of hovers quickly, but enabled this week. The Mordekaiser stays on the sidelines. No Qiyana bans so far. We're in our third game of the day. First Qiyana pick here. It's against Azir. Sounds very punishing in the early laning phase when it comes to harassment. Qiyana's burst range is very, very high. And it's a champion where if you don't know exactly what her potential is and what her numbers are, you can get blown up real fast. Any assassin that you're not aware of is much more punishing than most other class archetypes because assassins are made for assassinating and Qiyana does it oh so well.
Everybody remembers their first game against Zed or one of those other assassins. And everybody remembers when Cuzz became a Karthus main and played nothing else. I feel like if there's one ban that you want to go up against Kingzone with, it would be the Karthus, but Hanwha decided not to do it today.
I think you could say that about 3 out of the 5 champions in the Rift. Like, oh, Naehyun, the one ban. Azir, of course. And then for Rascal, he's been our best Camille player for a couple of years in terms of being willing to return to it. Not always mechanically. I thought Smeb in spring, especially last year, was outstanding on the Camille in a lot of Jax matchups. But I think the Rascal's one of our most reliable in 2019. on this Camille, so I think those are 3 that you could say could be reasonably leveled against Kingzone. They've been a Camille jungle team in the past as well, and Cuzz has looked good on that pick. So at the end of the day, they've got a lot of power in their draft. Obviously, the fans were upset to not see the Qiyana after all the hovers. The bot lane is just powerful. Like, Varus Brahm's coming back in a big way, over and above something like Lucian Braum. In recent memory, they want to go respectful against the Ashe, but Hanwha Life also have potential in this draft, and it's fun to track, as I only just noticed that both Deft and TusiN went Unsealed Spellbook. If you're going Unsealed Spellbook Varus, you're probably building lethality items to dominate lane.
I like it, you know. TusiN, it's no surprise, but obviously the Varus. Going to be kind of interesting to see how that works. It does mean they can get 3 smites if they really want to, and they will potentially have 3 teleports.
That's so cheesy! And very, very Kingzone Dragon X. But I have to think that it will be lethality in order to just all in on the Thresh. Thresh obviously doesn't have the longest range if he's not hitting a hook, so between that, you're all in. If you hit a Chain of Corruption with Q-Max Varus, you can just blow up Thresh. He's pretty squishy. Gonna get a actual zoom in on the runes, and I see Transcendence, and yeah, it's almost certainly gonna be 40% CDR. Lethality stacking Varus.
It's a lot of fun, for sure. We can have some big numbers, big damages all at once. As, okay, gonna get the hook here. A little bit of trading, trying to do that damage here to TusiN as, okay, we're going in there. Even the Ignite's sticking on the backside as Key and Sangyoon definitely like to get aggressive if they can land that hook.
Yeah, nice all in there. They've got the Ignite advantage. TusiN started Exhaust, just in case a Talia early gank came in or they really misplayed a trade. Remember, it's 4 minutes, so no teleport to get a freebie return to lane yet. But TusiN, he's going to huff it back much more honestly in this world of teleport meta. We haven't talked about how Qiyana works as a champion. I'm hoping that you would have caught her in other regions to do the heavy lifting on that. Basic gist of it is the W gives a Q reset, and it also empowers for different effects, depending on the element she grabs. So if you grab Brush, gives you that invisibility and movement speed. If you grab River, gives you the Root on the Q, which is obviously very, very powerful. And then the Terrain regular one is a bit more extra bonus damage. It's kind of the gist of it. The way she actually functions, though, it's a lot of picking up an element and then kind of QWQ into this huge burst, and your R, obviously, if it's up, to look for a burst rotation. For the R, it's a big kind of AoE fissure, and be very afraid of playing around terrain, walls in particular, but even Jarvan walls and temporary terrain, because it can really affect teamfights in ways that no other ability ever did, just because of how it travels slowly around terrain.
It's definitely one of those champions that you kind of have to know what she does. Otherwise, you're just like, what the hell is going on in this game?
You can definitely get away with some champs where you're just like, I don't really know much. I kind of half watch the champ select and you kind of, or champion spotlight and work it out. But with Qiyana, like, you kind of have to see it work in front of you and then you're like, oh, okay. And feel the damage also to understand just the, the one rotation. She's definitely one of those champions. You know those assassins we've had in past where you miss R but still solo kill? That's one of her when she gets enough lethality items.
Definitely some good fun here as Hanwha Life.
Get out of there!
Come on. Alright, he's going to have it happen. Had to smite early just to stay alive, but that's a really early Ocean Drake at 6 minutes.
It would have started at about 5:20, so just off spawn almost. It's one that's very high value for bot and mid lane, and I think it might have been picked up. The moment you see Unsealed Spellbook and know that it's going to be lethality Varus, anything to give Ashe and Thresh something, because yes, going the Comet Ashe gives you lane presence, but the Thresh is kind of the sticking out champion here. Yes, Braum is also not going to have a fun time, but the all-in effect is much more reliable on the Kingzone side post 6, and they'll have Cleanse if they want it, and the Ignite available, Cleanse on Deft. With the extra summoners for Kingzone, bot lane is a bit of a scary one, for Key in particular.
You can see the respect. Lava leaves lane as, okay, TusiN taking a bit of damage once again. The Ignite's available again. Flash forward. trying to do that. Will get the response flash as Deft even going to take a bunch of damage on the back here. As Key will trade his health bar, but a good trade overall to the side of Hanwha Light.
And I like that they're trying to make these trades at this present timing. Remember, Ignite was just switched to, so there's not going to be a teleport back for Braum, and Deft is not 6. If the play starts with Chains of Corruption on Key, it ends with Key's death. They will have very high burst rotation onto him, but finding these windows to delay level 6 TusiN and level 6 Deft actually stops any momentum from the Deft and TusiN side, because if it starts good for them, it probably ends bad for Hanwha Light. It's been a pretty free lane for Lava here. This has been Naehyun going ultra safety first in the matchup, so a melee assassin is getting away with just farming CS for CS, and you know that her first item is going to be very impactful when it comes to trades. If you look at the other lanes, it's AP cannon this time. It's AP jungle, so you're actually really wanting flat magic resist, or magic resist and armor in the early game, right? Because you're going to get a lot of pen stacking from both sides. And that's something that's going to be difficult to deal with a free-farmed Kiana in the mid.
We got Bono coming down here on the jungle Taliyah, and this is totally out of vision, although you can see that Deft and TusiN are playing way up against the wall. They spot Cuzz here as well.
Up the wall, Cuzz. Yep, he knows. There's a very real chance that there is plenty of bad guys around.
Especially Taliyah looking for all the CC, and they're going to chain it on in. Inflate to his death as Key, the bloodthirsty support, will pick up that kill.
Not often the Deft goes wide, but he missed his ult there, and it just became trivial to pick up the freebie on TusiN. Nothing else that Cuzz could do. Poor use of the Varus ult, and now awkwardly Cuzz has to stay because Deft is so low that 3 volleys and any speck of damage and he's dead.
Yeah, we see a lot of Lux lanes be able to take turret plates early, but when you're able to pick up kills too in a more aggressive lane, you can also get a couple of turret plates. So,
and they worked really hard for it, Valdez, as well. Remember the 2 all-ins onto TusiN to stop the lane being about Deft hits R, QQ, death, basically, between the two. Instead, it's been sangyoon and Key finding little windows, using Ignite, basically kind of cycling it off cooldown, even though they're not the team with the unsealed spellbook. Moment that Deft's ult goes wide, for sure, you're going to be dead there. Bono able to walk in, hits the seismic shove, to the death chamber with TusiN.
Taliyah can be deceptively fast, just riding the walls. Obviously, if you're next to a wall, you go a lot faster as you surf on your little rock surfboard. So, you know, even at an early stage in the game where you only have the brown bags, you know, that level 1 boots, you can be very hard to hit with skill shots.
Man, what a bold item choice from sangyoon. He has entire Essence Reaver because he had the exact gold, but he's against Lethality Varus. So the chances of being on like 300 health down and no way to interact with the minions to heal up is very likely. Does mean the jungler probably should come bot side. But speaking of jungler, Rift Herald being visited, Kiana's on a merry journey, but no assassination potential just yet from Lava.
Yeah, you can see how Lava's hugging that wall, just looking to see if anyone's going to pass by, especially a Karthus would probably just die. So got to be real careful about that. And as you mentioned before, Naehyun's just playing super safe in the mid lane, just farming up, saying, okay, if I just don't die, I will eventually win, which is a pretty general good course of action up against assassins in general. So it's working out for him so far. You can see that the Karthus hasn't died either, hasn't been found in the jungle.
We always know that the Karthus jungle means extra oomph guaranteed. Speaking of Karthus jungle,
we're trying to dunk him in as Naehyun trying to bait them, but Cuzz gonna get big time knocked up as Bono is owning the fight. The flash on in as Lava tries to go for it. That's a little bit too downtown. Cuzz saw it coming through the middle, and nobody is going to die.
Wow, a lot of posturing there. Cuzz in position to at least provide a distraction, but doesn't change anything. Multiple summoners used. Mostly on the side of Kingzone, we should mention 2 flashes to 1. Used in that trade. No assassination from Lava that time. It looked like the ult missed too, but I'm still getting used to all the graphical cues to understand them, especially when it misses. Very easy to notice when it hits.
Yeah.
Well, Walking over onto the Drake. Remember, it was a very early Ocean Drake. HhanwhaLife in position here. TusiN and Deft kind of alone.
Oh, gonna lock him down, and he is so dead. They don't even need the Requiem, as TusiN and Deft are gonna sit that Taliyah down. Taliyah this early pretty much has no health, so very easy kill once you were able to land that max range Chain of Corruption.
Bit of a gosh darn it moment from Cuzz, wishes he didn't use the Requiem, but it gets them off that second Drake take, and the Mountain would have been a nice snowball one. Later in the game, if they have a really big Baron threat, their turn can be oh so scary, and this might be a bit of a heist. It's going to be, I believe, at least spotted by one of the members. Pings out. Don't know if there can be a contest here. It's going to be a Grump take for HhanwhaLife Esports. Still no regen from sangyoon, who hasn't shocked. Sits on his Essence Reaver. Ward cleared. Lava kept honest for now. CS-wise, mid lane and top lane are kind of the surprising ones to me. And the Kiana's kept up CS with an Azir, but Camille also is not meaningfully behind SoHwan on the AP cannon. And we know that at some point, Rascal can just run at cannon, pretty much just kill him. The turret threat and also the 1v1 for Camille will overtake this matchup over time.
You can see the river control they have on the top side here. And Cuzz just went over a wall. Okay, well, this is a Karthus that is absolutely dead, as he had no summoners. Can only run so much, and picking off the jungler already means that HhanwhaLife going to roll this into a Rift Herald, but KingZone aggressively pushing the mid lane. Let's see how they react.
They're trying to draw HhanwhaLife away from Rift Herald, but I don't think they'll be able to do that. Cuzz showed a very poor understanding of where the map breakup was up and where it was likely there would be members of HhanwhaLife, because he was heavily outnumbered with no flash. He did not take the safety first route. Should have gone down. HhanwhaLife pick up Rift Herald. They'll want that, and they probably want to use it top side to keep the Camille in check as much as possible. But a lane swap can happen here. Deft stuck in the bot lane. Don't know if he can cycle his cleanse or not. Unsure where the teleport is at in terms of cooldown. But all Deft can do is push, try to take this bot lane turret. Turret plates are down, so the good news for KingZone is it's post-turret plates.
Should still be able to pick off this turret, though, for the side of Hanwha, so good first blood turret. To give a bunch of that gold over to the Ashe, as SoHwan flashed and ulted thin air, it seems. Rascal getting ignited, nearly knocked up there, as HhanwhaLife are going super deep on it. Okay, TusiN! You really want a piece of the action. He just wants to slow down everybody as the chase is on. Rascal gonna land that stun, and they're going deep, but a nice stopwatch gonna keep him alive. Now TusiN's on the back for Naehyun, and Rascal doing so much damage up top, and there's that Kiana ultimate, just wrapping around. As not quite gonna be enough though, the Requiem also coming in and should be able to finish off Bono, as even sangyoon has to flash away from that
Deft
one.
wants it.
I think he should be able to get it here. Just one auto into the queue, and that's going to be an ace right before the Thresh spawns. KingZone punishing Hanwha for going too deep.
And Naehyun on point again with his ult. The battle of the mid lane ults. It was going to be one or the other. It looked like an overinvestment, but Cycle comes through from Deft. He does have teleport at this point in the play. And watch how it plays out. You know, we're really looking at the impactful ults. Which are the mid lane ults for me at this point in the game. Lava exhausted to begin. SoHwan, sorry, was exhausted. The Naehyun ult was massive. Meanwhile, Lava, really no value out of his, relatively at least. Requiem can be channeled on an enemy control ward because there was no more threat onto the backline of KingZone.
And just finishes the Ashe off at the end.
내시 노플이야, 내시 노플. 오케이, 잡았다 이러면.
There's
오케이.
no flash.
나이스.
We can get her in that case. And then nice for you guys who don't know the translation of nice.
Some beautiful translation there. Thank you very much for that
problem.
one, Valdez.
Yeah, just trying to help us out here on the stream. As a Matthias is already purchased. He's not wasting any time.
We could have asked him at the after party. Cuzz was there. We could have asked him about the when in doubt, earliest possible Medjais. Now, to be fair, he's been reading 25 stack book quite regularly. He's definitely read that one multiple times. We haven't seen the 0 stack sad sack Karthus in a while, so he just loves picking up Medjais as early as possible. And if he can just play the PvE dream and pick up stacks, he'll be doing just fine.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I was saying it should be a very highly considered ban against KingZone because Cuzz kind of came out of nowhere, picking up the Karthus and saying, well, I'm going to pilot this to new heights, and now he plays it whenever he gets a chance when it's not banned.
Fun interactive League of Legends for Sangyoon, who amusingly bought a pot on his last back and then wanted Stinger, so had to sell it, so he still has no regen, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to have to deal with, so far, 2 Dirks. There'll be more coming from Deft. Reason to go this build is to really have the lane presence, to be able to slam the Thresh, but that's not how the laning phase went. It's going to have to be about the Siege. The Siege, obviously, with both this Ashe and Varus build, is very strong on both sides. Cuzz is trying to track behind for the counter gank, but wards upon wards on both sides means that pretty much full information for both teams. SoHwan has no teleport, so actually I feel like KingZone have the run of this map, but they'll probably have to give up Drake to get this in a top turret play.
All right, KingZone have vision now, so they're certainly considering hanging around, but you can see that instead, Rascal will just push the top lane as KingZone, the rest of them, just push the mid lane here. Lava looking to come from behind. Will be looking to, okay, block that wall, as that was an interesting interaction.
A lot of little bounces happening between all of the things will allow KingZone to get out. Interaction is a well-known one about interrupting the wall with the Unbreakable. I think they made the right call. Camille had teleport advantage, and I think you're not that scared of a Mountain Drake for inner turret topside trade, given that inner turret gives you Baron control, and Mountain Drake's largely prized for doing a faster Baron. So at the end of the day, it's kind of a 50-50 trade that KingZone always keep the advantage for.
I'm feeling pretty good about that trade. It's still really even in the gold.
I feel like you're reaching for like Santa Monica-ism with this cast, like Hella and Rele.
This is just really good cast. I'm having a great time.
Said no one about this cast. It's awful, Valdez. But we're gonna try and right the ship.
I wanted to say really and relatively. I say both of those.
Relatively.
A really bigly amount of times here.
You also talk about fantastic League of Legends a lot.
Yeah,
this might
fantastic.
Run Noble Thresh. Thresh is fine.
That's kind of run. As okay, we're just diving the turret and seeing if we can do this with the Requiem. SoHwan is going to say 1 for 1 at least. As down will go the Camille as well.
They have the extra ohm, but Rascal went oh so deep and played like he had a stopwatch that very clearly was not there. If you're gonna show off your wrists a lot and you don't have a watch, you look a bit silly, and that is exactly how Rascal looks after that play. But it is a preview of what will happen in the side lane again and again in the Camille versus Kennen matchup. We skipped some steps, we didn't have the stopwatch, didn't have the life steal, so in the end it ends up being a 1 for 1, but Rascal will do well to recreate that a lot as the second item Power Spike comes out.
Deft's having a fun time. He's playing Archer today. That's just about all he's doing.
Isn't Korea famous for archery? I feel like Korea
they're
wins
really
at
good.
archery.
I think that was one of those sports where they basically just never lost for a long time, but then other regions.
Just like League of Legends.
Yeah, for a very long time until the apocalypse struck.
Yeah. I know. I've heard about this.
You remember that? I think you might have been there actually.
I mean, if my hands are over my eyes by the transitive properties of playing, hide and go seek, and also playing, peekaboo. Maybe I wasn't. I don't know. It's hard to say about this.
Yeah.
It's a dark time in my life.
Is that because you were covering your eyes, or?
Yeah. I was.
Because Korea was losing everything.
It's a little bit of both. But KingZone, they want to start sieging. They didn't do it in lane with the Varus, but it'll work here. Oh, I guess Unbreakable was used. So that time, it will actually get the full duration of the wall. KingZone back away. I think they're just going to wait for Camille to be ready to run at Kennen, and then their comp actually gets really scary to play against. There's very little counterplay.
Oh, trying to jump here onto Naehyun, and the Unbreakable can't block it! They're maybe going to be able to get 2 here. No, TusiN is going to flash away, but a nice little set piece there from the side of Hanwha Life will pick up that mid lane.
Really assertive there. That's the sort of Ash Arrow we're looking for, and I believe the hook hit Naehyun and didn't actually get blocked by TusiN. Like it appeared that he was aiming for. That's just a straight up kill. And map control and deep wards on the side of Hanwha Life, trying to make any sort of Baron play from Kingzone difficult. Varus straight back to mid lane. Where's Camille at? Something that the enemy team has to consider. Right down the mid lane was Rascal. Okay. Sorry, the interaction there was trolling me a bit.
Yeah.
Who is baiting who here? As the actual Ashe arrow is back off cooldown already, you're taken off guard. The 40% CDR Ashe, I believe it's 54 seconds or so, is the cooldown on the arrow. We're A-ramming. I guess that wasn't too surprising.
Alrighty then. Nothing's going to land there. As now we're trying to kill Bono. And the Requiem cannot do it. Well, she does have a stopwatch, so not today. As Sangyoon, I think he lost half his health with one piercing arrow.
Do you remember when we had a lot of GP Jin comps where the GP ult would start and then that would lead to the Jin stun and
yeah.
the synergies between that? Requiem and on a Lethality Varus, like Lethality Varus is kind of a 40% of your health bar champion, and Requiem can grow there as well. You can see that the sieging with a guaranteed 1v1 winning lane with Camille is the reasoning behind this comp. Hasn't been executed perfectly yet, but as we're starting to see it put together and how strong the 4-1 is in this game, like it already means that SoHwan really needs to hit that flank, because right now they're being split in a couple of different ways.
Yeah, and then they add this really massive magic threat as well with the Karthus and the Azir. Let's take a look at this hook.
Yeah, it looked like...
Really?
Yeah, I mean, TusiN also cleansed a cycle there, so just the model wasn't actually tanking. You seem to...
I think it was a weird angle, too, because TusiN put his shield, like, forward, like, towards the mid lane, kind of. And even though it looked like it was in front, for some reason it wasn't. I don't know.
Not every hitbox can be the Ashe arrow hitbox, it turns out. So, at the end of the day, you have to just appeal to what you've got. Speaking of what you got, Cuzz has got a Void Stuff. So, LS approved in his Karthus build so far.
Yeah.
Knows the magic resist is coming. Right now, it's not massive, but Thresh will be focusing on some very shortly. Hanwha Life have control, and they have a lot of spotting vision with 40% CDR. They're already on this. Kingzone can't take too long.
Key running over there should be pretty suspicious. Now the wall is going to come forward, but TusiN's here. A small little piece is left, and it's a little bit too late, as the smite should come in. There it is. TusiN nearly able to steal it, actually, as where did the Ashe go? Just disappeared with all the damage they have in their comp, and everybody else is just trying to run away from this one. Rascal, see what he can do. The hook shot is down as, okay, the heist is real. The Baron on 3 members now of Hanwha Life.
Very unlikely that you could steal a Baron at 24 minutes when the enemy team was already grouped in mid, but Kingzone's safety first to their downfall. 2 kills taken away. They're going to at least begin the Baron buff power play on a negative. Kingzone keep pushing in, and Rascal wants to spot Bono in transition.
Looking for it now, and may just be able to bait SoHwan in too. SoHwan doing actually a lot of damage on the backside. Here comes Lava, just gonna burst down that Karthus, but it's not gonna be able to do much more, as it was just a straight up 1-for-1 for that trade. So tried to pull off the big time assassin plays, but was able to be shut down by all the damage.
It's just a bit weird for Lava to be trying a play like that. Like, assassin play is not usually in the middle of a lane trying to salvage a kill. That's the scenario Lava found himself in. They haven't been able to make this game about Qiyana catching people rotating between lanes. That's what assassins are good at. Here's the replay though. Watching the goaltending that came through. Came pretty close, but the smite is true overall from the Varus. And then, yeah, you called it right. Ashe died real fast.
It was one of those kills where you don't even really see the health bar. She just goes from full to none.
I love this play from Rascal. There was a bit of a bug that looked like he was revealed, but he was actually unseen in the brush, able to make the play happen. Caught in transition here. Another Requiem that's sadly a bit too late to get any stacks, or bonus stacks for the Karthus. He ends up with the same after getting the assist rolling. Hanwha Life still need to find a way to wield what they have, which is Kennen teleport flanks and Qiyana deleting someone walking between lanes. If Kingzone keep rolling down and making this game mostly ARAM outside of Camille's split push, right now Lava has no ability to impact the game.
I mean, he's got some fancy items, but he's kind of just hanging around for now. And KingZone are not giving him an opportunity. They're holding him at arm's length. I mean, they have the giant wall of pain. They have Azir and Lethality Varus that can just sit back and do their thing.
Why didn't Jungle Camille work in the LCK when it was God tier in the LPL? Because LCK teams looked at it and said, let's just not fight against it. Means there's no gold income, we're not skirmishing for as much, but in that meta that was okay. And then it's half a Trinity Force, 25 minutes. Camille dying instantly. That's another arrow that hits.
All right, he's gonna land that stun as well with that supreme display of talent, but wasn't a supreme display of any kills. So everybody gets away. TusiN the only one that has to flash from that one, as it was a bit scary for a little bit there.
Yeah, the lava ult came through and went through the terrain there as well, but overall they just didn't have enough damage to get a kill. They're not picking a squishy, trying to get onto a Braum. But no kills roll through there. I feel like the same has been made of assassins. There's been very few traditional melee assassin mez. We never get the Zed before bed. No Zed play, sadly. If we get an assassin, it's a LeBlanc that can wave clear, play side lanes, and is ranged. The Kali, who also can deal with waves as time goes on. In this case, the Qiyana just been... The moment that you saw on-hit Varus not being opted into and Lethality Varus, the difference is on-hit Varus needs time in a team fight to get going. Lethality Varus doesn't team fight, he just pokes. That means that KingZone just stayed away where possible from lava, and they haven't had enough vision control Hanwha Life to actually get the picks that an assassin requires.
See Lave actually able to sneak on in here, but he doesn't really have too many teammates with him, so just hops away. And you can see that KingZone, they're just staying together as four. Nobody gets picked off. Rascal comes from the other direction.
Remember, the vision thing on top of his head is bugged at the moment. It says that he's revealed. That's what the status effect is, but not revealed at present. We're going to have to be on track with vision to fully understand that. Another hidden feature that we were looking for here on the LCK broadcast.
Just telling us not to forget about the Camille.
Well, Deft and TusiN are either inting solo queue or they're going to have Unsealed Spellbook teleports ready soon. If you look at their summoner spells, they're very creative. Pushing through. And there's no response here from Hanwha Life. They're losing inner turrets for this play. KingZone playing around the map like a build like this is trying to do. They keep going. What's Hanwha Life going to do?
You can see they were considering backing. And then someone made the call, no, go. Deft was in the front there. Seemed like he really wanted to stay. Here's an arrow that TusiN does have to cleanse. Look at his flash back and available.
Cyphers through. Flash will be for a while, but KingZone have been really good with lane assignments here. It's been one of the things I've really enjoyed them because they love to play, top lane mages, more damage around the top lane than some teams opt into. They do it through smart pushing of side lanes. They play the map really intelligently, which I imagine is Deft, TusiN, but I would say also Coach Acorn, who was kind of the god-tier lane swap player back in 2014 on Samsung Blue, a teammate of Deft 5 years ago, but now coach alongside Hirai on the KingZone side. So I definitely have to give credit to someone that a lot of people around the world learned about rotations from. KingZone continue to rotate around. They'll be very comfortable wherever Camille goes. And good news, she's gone watch shopping. She got that online.
The one other thing we were looking at is the book there for Karthus hasn't gotten too many other stacks. Just sitting on 7. Lucky 7 for now. We'll see if he can build up any more in the team fight that should follow pretty soon here. As everybody's fighting for vision around the Baron.
Hanwha Life have to force the teleport from Camille. That is their goal right now. They can't send Kennen against her. It's all about the TP timing. SoHwan in a control ward on a flank.
Yeah, just waiting for this one. The wall is going to be blocked. There's the teleport and a big Requiem. It does insane damage already, even through the shielding.
Rascal smart to check up top side. KingZone completely aware of how Hanwha Life are setting this up. It's problem solving of where could Kennen be with flash up. There's only so many places. KingZone scout them out. Rascal pushes mid. Now it's Hanwha Life who have to make the smart move.
Okay, we do get the arrow though, and a ton of CC there onto the Braum, as he's somehow going to survive, and there's Naehyun getting into the backline. Qiyana not really able to do much on her own, as SoHwan unfortunately comes in for the flank, but had no help.
Cuzz flashes in.
And Naehyun's just out of there, as Cuzz is looking for the kills. It's only Lava now. See if they can find her through the stealth as well. Might be able to take down this. Nope, not quite. Down goes the Qiyana, actually. Another ace to the side of Kingzone as Deft is pushing mid.
They're looking for the win. The big MVP of that fight is Rascal. Knows his role. Ultimatums Kennen away from the flank that Hanwha Life have been setting up for the entire time. Start the Baron, kite up, Kennen kills everyone. No. Rascal on the case, stops him, and the game should end here. But death timers on Sangyoon, only 5 seconds, so I don't think it matters.
They have enough to push on in through the mid lane as 32 minutes is going to be the timer there. Sangyoon not even able to get any extra damage as he missed that arrow. But GG, Kingzone able to come on in here and show them who's boss with a lot of their very comfortable picks. Nicely done here in game number 1.
And they do it as a team. Big Naehyun engage once again into really smart understanding of what to do as Rascal. It means that those two will be names that the voters will consider when it comes for MVP. I think both are acceptable choices. Kingzone Dragon X played that one out with a lot of thought the moment that it clicked for them. The moment that it clicked for us when we're like, oh wait, Lethality Varus plus Chameleon to Kennen, that could be big. It played out in a fashion that made a lot of sense there. It wasn't flawless, but the moment that the Unsealed Spellbook Varus came out, you knew it would be a bit of a different type of game, and it was a game that was largely about don't get assassinated by the hyper-tuned mid-lane assassin of Qiyana.
They just played it perfectly around what Hanwha Life had. I mean, the draft was what it was, and Kingzone, it felt like they had their number from beginning of the draft to the end of the game, and that's kind of what we expect when we're getting one of these teams that is kind of just practicing for playoffs at this point, trying to make it a case for them to 100% make it in, whereas Hanwha Life is kind of taking a couple of rungs down on the ladder as still serious and taking it here in the practice room is Kingzone trying to figure out what they could have done better, even though it looked pretty damn good in game 1.
I think as a whole, if you go back to Champ Select, into the way they ruined, into how they played, I'm with you, Valdez. I'm like, okay, they had a plan, they largely did it. That is a Jinx alpaca going on the right, and there is an alpaca. Sentient, crazy, can speak English and Korean. It's amazing. The world's most talented alpaca is Deft. But my big takeaway is there was actually a lot of execution, small mistakes from Kingzone along the way that it didn't look like they was completely on point. I think as a whole, like macro zoom out wise, you're like, yep, another smart game. I think in the game there were some mistakes they would want to correct. Thankfully for Kingzone, there's a game 2 for that. And for Hanwha Life, they gave us what we wanted. We wanted to see the Qiyana, but in this case, Kingzone is a more experienced team, especially as how they hold themselves, kind of trying to be a little bit next level. They did manage to keep Qiyana in a box, and we were never shouting about a big Qiyana ult, like happened, for example, for Splice against Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, little mistakes here and there, but I will just say that they held all their flanks. They knew exactly where they could be coming from, and they shut it down.
Sure.
Bunch of big ultimates, too, from Naehyun. Everybody played pretty well there. We'll see what they can do in game number 2 after this break.
여기 잘 찍어줄게.
성공 쏘게.
나 이거 잠깐만 대고.
이래 가신 거 하든지. 라스 마이킹 해.
이거 내가 미드 일단은 리드 할 테니까 좀만 대체해봐.
타민이 그럼 찾아서 캐는 중.
거기
여기다 캐는 여기 있다.
나 미드 쭉 갈게.
미드
미드
주고
가봐.
미끼리 바로 건드려 볼래 그러면?
네 그렇게 해요. 그렇게 해요.
우리 셋이?
나공 150초.
나
스타일이
오늘 내가
몇인데?
공으로 볼게.
싸움만 보지 마. 싸움만 보지 마.
내가
내가
우리끼리 알아서 볼게. 우리끼리 알아서
몇인데?
볼게.
몇인데?
일만 시켜로 볼게.
보고 있다.
빼봐 한번 빼봐 한번 빼. 그냥 한번 빼. 나 가고 있다.
그만하고.
나 살았고.
나 캐넨 마크하고부터 캐넨 뭐 못해. 캐넨 뒤 이거 캐넨 누구?
잡았고.
나왔고.
알았어 해줘.
위로 빼봐.
봐줘라 오찬이.
이렇게.
이거 다 잡을만 하거든?
이렇게 나 미드 탈게.
여기.
아 잡았다.
아이고 야야 나. 안 쳤지.
다 40초.
끝날만해?
아 끝낼만 한거 같은데 25초 나가는 줄 알았어.
아니 바로 찍까
근데 라인 살았잖아. 라인 살아서 깰만 한거 같은데 우리 상호 깰만 한거. 와봐 깬다. 깼어. 스테이지에
아 끝났다. 오케이.
무서울게.